Welcome everybody to the CCLS DL chapter IDR. This is one of a series of launch events that we've been hosting for our new global chapters. Today's event is going to be very informal, and so the format will be that Professor Ian Walden, who's Director of CCLS, will start, and then he'll hand over to Nora Gallagher, who's Senior Lecturer and the Jean Monnet Chair, as well as Dr. Remy Gerbet, who's the Lecturer in Arbitration and International Commercial Law. They are both the chapter academics who have a particular interest in the DL chapter. And then you'll hear from one of the chapter committee members, Victor Rykov, and there'll be an opportunity to chat, and as I say, it's very informal. So right now I'd like to hand over to Professor Ian Walden. Thank you.
Thank you very much and welcome. Thank you all who've been able to find the time to join us today. We're very pleased to see you all. As Celia said, I'm Director of the Centre for Commercial Law Studies at the moment. And I'm actually have been at the Centre for Commercial Law Studies for 29 years, so I show a remarkable lack of imagination in terms of where I work. But we really hope that you're all well and that you're surviving under the current difficult circumstances, varying forms of lockdown or restrictions on your activities. We're here today to initiate a new CCLS alumni chapter for the IDR distance learning program, which is a long overdue development because an alumni are a critical part of the CCLS family. And this chapter is designed to facilitate professional and social networking and really to maintain strong and what we hope are productive ties between the centre and its graduates, you. So CCLS, as many of you in your business, has been in lockdown since January, but we are still continuing to expand and extend our activities. We this year will be able to offer over 350 employability options for our opportunities for our students, from Q Legal to mentoring and internships. One of the most recent ones we've entered into is an internship with Airbnb. So some students are able to spend some time working for the online business in California, unfortunately situated in London. We're also continuing as a research centre to produce not only high quality research, but also impactful research, impacting policy development, whether it be at a national level or a regional level or an international level. And in such areas as online gambling, access to medicines, which is clearly key in the current environment, and sovereign debt. We have established a sovereign debt forum, which is designed to provide pro bono legal advice to developing countries who are having issues managing their sovereign debt with the financial services sector. So last year we celebrated our 40th anniversary. We had great plans for a number of great events, all of which had to be either cancelled or reorganized, but I hope some of you were able to attend some of our webinars. Particularly as distance learning students, you are very, very used to the technology, I hope, although we've all probably had a bit too much of the technology of late. As I said, alumni are an incredibly important part of the CCLS family. We hope that it's an opportunity not only for you to continue to be associated with the centre, because learning is a lifelong activity, and we hope you can continue to gain knowledge and experience and opportunities to learn from us at the centre, but also the possibilities of you giving back to the centre, to the current generation or the future generation of students, whether it be through offering mentoring to students. We have over 200 opportunities for mentoring, and students really appreciate the ability to have somebody to talk to about what they think they want to do or what they should do, or learning just about how your careers have developed. So we hope you see this as an opportunity where we can offer you something, and we'd hope that you'd be keen and willing to offer something to the centre as well. So once again, I very much welcome you. I'll now hand over to Remy, who you all possibly need, but no. And we'll be academic leads for CCLS together with Nora. But with that, very nice to meet you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Welcome everyone to this launch event for the CCLS Distance Learning Chapter for International Dispute Resolution. Noah and I are very excited about the launch of this chapter because obviously networking is a very important part of the experience of doing a postgraduate degree in law, and whether you do that online or face-to-face, it remains true that it's a very important part of it. So we're excited that this initiative is being launched. Now, just by way of introduction, I just wanted to remind everyone that this is very much a student initiative. It's led by students for students. And so what it means is that what you will get out of this distance learning International Dispute Resolution Alumni group depends on what you invest into it. And the more initiatives you put in place and organize, and the more value you will get out of your membership of this alumni chapter. The second point is that membership of this distance learning International Dispute Resolution Alumni chapter is not exclusive with being a member of AFSA, which is the broader association of friends and alumni of the School of International Arbitration. So don't think that you can't be a member of AFSA. In fact, you should sign up to also be a member of AFSA. And then the leadership of this distance learning practice group should, of course, feel free to liaise and connect with the leadership of AFSA to see if they can organize events together, etc. So it's not exclusive at all. The idea is to really provide you with both opportunities. Now, because this is student-led, our leaders for this group, Renata and Victor, together with the members of the group, will have a decisive say in what they want to do in terms of initiatives. And it's not for Noah and I to place any limits on your enthusiasm or anything, or to require you to do a minimum number of events or anything like that. It's very much up to you. But just by way of illustration, AFSA typically does one substantive event per year. And by substantive event, I mean a conference where they invite as speakers alums of the school, but also teachers and outside guest speakers, etc. And they have a different theme every time. And that, I think, has been very successful in recent years. In addition to substantive events, I think the sort of things that gets organized sometimes are less formal networking, catch-up events. Obviously, we live in a world where there's a global pandemic. And so at present, it means that all of these events have to be online, but that's not going to be a struggle for any of us because we're used to distance learning, so that should be fine. But at some stage, we'll go back to normal, right? And at that stage, I think it will be possible, and it would be great if we could organize events that will be face-to-face. Now, one thing that we've done at the beginning of this distance learning programs about 3 years ago is we've organized face-to-face events once a year. We get together during Paris Arbitration Week, but it could be also during London International Disputes Week, to do a substantive event and then to go and attend some of the free seminars and conferences being organized by various law firms and organizations. And it was a great success during Paris Arbitration Week. And I think Noah and I would be very happy if we could resume that as soon as possible when the COVID-19 pandemic allows us to do that. And so there may be an opportunity for the distance learning chapter to organize an event, whether it's a substantive one or a networking event, around the same time, and to coordinate so that alums can meet current students of the school. And so we get a bit of a critical mass, and we can do all sorts of things, including social events. We had lunches and dinners together when we met in Paris with the first intake of these distance learning programs, and that was really a great experience. So hopefully we can do that again going forward. So I think that covers it for me. So now I'm going to pass give the floor to Victor. Victor, if you want to take over.
Yeah, of course, with pleasure. Thank you, Remy. Hi, everyone. Who does not know me, I recently graduated from the Queen Mary Distant Learning Program for the International Dispute Resolution. I finished postgraduate diploma program, and I was suggested that opportunity to coordinate activities of the Distant Learning Chapter, which I accepted with the, how to say, pleasure and honor, because let's say it's nothing is much more important in these times of closure in separate flats and compartments than networking. So as I see that, our activities will be largely around networking, and I see I see three main directions. Firstly, there is academia. Secondly, there is legal practice, and thirdly, there is some how to say lively events which let's say give pleasure to like either academics or practitioners. So basically, what Remy just told about luncheons in Paris or in London or maybe in Moscow, as I'm from Russia. So. As I see, when community grows, and as I understand, Queen Mary University already has many different venues. For example, there is serious help for launching one's career. So there are like many different like venues where you could ask some help or advice. So in this sense, I see the role of the chapter to coordinate those distant learning alumni, because of course, when you on the camp, you see and receive much more information, and you are much more informed about what happens around. But once you study like on distant, you feel yourself like you here when there is a webinar, you are here when there is exam. When once it's finished, you feel yourself like you left with the diploma, and basically that's it. So in this sense, the role of the chapter should be to break this ice, and distant learning students, they should understand that, okay, we are still like all those opportunities are still available for us, and we are like the same members of this community. So I suppose when the chapter grows, this should be made clear to everyone who joins it, and this objective should be, I think, the main one. What else I can add? So as was as previous speakers said as well, that as much we give as much we receive. Yeah, so basically that might be one of the ways to, how to say, enlarge chapters activities. Now we have like 3 coordinators, and basically there will be like dozens of people coming in, and it might be that we could have some committees. Some of them are around events organizations, some of them around publication activities. This is actually my personal struggle as well, and maybe some students also will have the same. Once I finished with my diploma, I understood that I would like still to be involved in arbitration. As I do not have career opportunities materialized yet, I would like to have publishing opportunities. So I suppose chapter could also help alumni to stay in touch with academia, and to stay in touch maybe with some high profile practitioners who would like to, how to say, publish something on the most current arbitration topics, because this goes without saying that a person who just graduated is well informed about current topics and can easily distinguish and can easily determine which topics the person would like to put in some respectful journal. So going by that route, the end perspective of the chapter will be maybe to coordinate between alumni and some journals who either work closely with Queen Mary or might wish to work closely with Queen Mary in future. This, I think, can be a separate stream. Of course, as a separate, as a finishing note, and as usually all organizers say at the Vismut events, have fun, yeah? So basically we should remember that once we chose some career route or some professional route, it should bring about fun. So I hope together we will make this networking opportunity the fun for each member involved. Thank you.
Thanks, Victor. I'm delighted to see that you endorsed what we used to say at the very first lecture and the distance learning, that whatever you put into it, you actually get back. And I think the success of the chapter will very much depend on people's input into it. I wasn't sure, Celia, I saw that Renata joined, if Renata wanted to add anything.
Hi, Renata. Renata's the other committee member.
Hello, everybody. Yes, my name is Renata Gransden. I'm not sure I can match Victor's impressive speech just now, but thank you very much. It mirrors a lot of what I believe in that we can get out from this alumni chapter. I think from my perspective, I've just completed the LLM at Queen Mary, and it's had a profound effect on me in terms of my discovery of my intellectual capacity. And I think for personally, as a non-lawyer yet, I'd like to bring to the table encouragement for people that aren't lawyers, because there was a predominance of practicing lawyers on the course. And sometimes that can be intimidating, but I think I'd like to reach out to those that aren't practicing lawyers on the course and assist with encouragement that you can still do it, it's possible. And I'm a very good example, having a 20-year hiatus from study and working in a electrical retailer store and still managing to achieve a merit, which I'm extremely proud of. And during my dissertation for the LLM, I reached out to several scholars, including Emmanuel Gaillard directly, and he replied to me, which was even more mind-blowing. And so it's really, I think I've learned that you have to be brave, you have to take steps, you have to make the first move. And it can really, as what Victor and everybody has said, what you put in, you can get out. And I firmly believe that that's why I'm here. That's why I want to be part of it. And I want to stay in touch with it. Being part of Queen Mary, I don't ever want to lose that connection. And I want to, as Victor said about not being directly involved in arbitration, I have a real passion for the subject. So it's my aim to be involved in publication. My tutor said I had a gift for writing, which I'd like to explore. And yes, I'm excited, and I'd like this to be fun as well. I think law can be very serious and very turgid sometimes. So it's good to have lots of events to add a bit of sparkle to the subject and the distance learning chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, Renata. That's really great. Well, it sounds very promising that there could be activities with a sparkle. It sounds, yeah, really exciting. I think now this is an opportunity for the rest of you attending today to have get involved and chat, and perhaps you'd like to start with saying perhaps what you're doing now and any if you've got any memories of your time at CCLS, as well as if you would like to say about anything that you would like to see in terms of activities through the chapter. So who would like to go first? Robin, how about you?
I'm in a sort of strange intermediate stage because I cross two disciplines. At Queen Mary, I'm the honorary professor of media law. So what's going on in the tabloid newspapers is of particular interest to me. And some of both my arbitration and my adjudication work comes out of the media sector and not just financial regulation, which was my previous sector. I'm working on finishing a chapter in the Encyclopedia of Data Protection and Privacy, which I'll have done hopefully by the end of May this year. It doesn't sound like, if you like, an arbitration or dispute resolution topic, but what I've agreed to do within that encyclopedia, which is published by Sweeten Maxwell, is to do its first ever chapter on some of the issues arising out of international dispute resolution, because there are significant privacy and confidence matters that sort of cross-match in the whole area. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Currently waiting for a judgment to come out on the on part of the royal family's battle in terms of privacy. And Celia knows this. I will shortly be within a BBC programme, a two-part programme, sometime during March or April, dealing with the way the British royal family play the legal system to try and protect their privacy. So that's me.
Very exciting.
That's very exciting.
And it's great that you can find the synergies between your previous areas, you know, of focus and dispute resolution. And I hope, you know, that I mean, I suspect that you've found a lot of value in the course. If you've gone on to do the Chartered Institute exams, you know, you're persevering in this direction. So that's great.
I mean, Remy, it's particularly important because there is the danger of academic silos where all the arbitrators can talk to all the arbitrators, all the financial lawyers talk to the, you know, to their own. Stepping into the dispute resolution area was an absolute eye-opener for me. I just hadn't realized the depth and actually the exciting, sometimes unresolvable issues that exist. And part of my mission is to talk to my media and telecommunications colleagues and say, look, guys, don't get stuck where you are. There's an awful lot happening over in this space, particularly with Brexit.
We'll wait to see when you're able to share the story more, Robin, with us. We look forward to that.
Right.
Anna, how about you? Would you like to go next?
Hello, everybody. Nice seeing you all after all this time. And thank you to our tutors, Nora and Remy, for me. I really had a really nice time whilst taking the LLM. I really enjoyed it, and I can really understand what Renata is saying about being away for so long from, you know, studying and doing assignments and all these kind of things, and also being involved to something completely different to sort of being a lawyer. We had a lot of lawyers in the course, and it was really difficult to actually keeping up with them, to be honest with you. But it was really challenging. And I am a practicing arbitrator and adjudicator and all that. But I always thought that I needed to have this legal knowledge as well. So for me, it was, you know, a really nice journey. I'm really excited that this chapter was set up, and I would really like to join you and help you in any way possible. I'm really interested for the publications, but also for the events, because at this time of my career, I would really like to have some fun as well. That's it. And one thing that I would like to ask is whether we will be allowed to join the library of QMUL, because apparently, even though we had to join in, now we are not allowed to actually have access to the library. And I would like to ask whether this is going to be sorted out, because for me it's very important. I mean, I really need to keep up to, you know, latest sort of news and events with ADR.
So I don't know what the answer to that question is. We're going to have to look into it and get back to you. I'm not too sure what the cutoff, you know, date is with access to all of the online databases, etc. I think it probably also depends on each one of these, but we'll look into it and we'll get back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm really looking forward actually to the Paris arbitration week, if this is going to be even next year, Remy.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward.
We really had a nice time when we were over there.
Yeah,
really excited.
And it's really a great way of doing networking in a very soft sort of
yeah, indeed
fashion. And networking is just so important as part of the program. I remember when I did my LLM, which is already 15 years ago. Over 15 years ago, I did not quite realize as a young lawyer how important it was to build these relationships. And I was a young student, just, you know, hanging around with friends of mine, people that I naturally got along with, and I kept touch with many of them, but that's all I did. I was not very focused on trying to build this relationship and bridges to people who were perhaps not doing international arbitration at the time and doing something else. And it's very important. It's important professionally in particular. And I've been very happy to see that there's already been some students of the first intake that have been able to send work to each other and to call on each other for help whenever they had legal questions relating to each jurisdiction. So that's been really rewarding to see that this was already happening. But it's very easy to lose the connection, like Renata was saying. So make sure you don't lose the connection. And for that, you have to make an effort to be involved, to attend the events, to organize them. And it's even harder when, like Victor said, you started your degree online and not face-to-face. So you haven't lived together and gone to the pub on a weekly basis, etc. So you have to make that effort, but it's really worth it. And again, we're very much looking forward to seeing all of you face to face as soon as this dreadful pandemic is over and we can get together in Paris or London and do these events. But the onus is very much going to be on the students with this organization to keep it going and to keep engaging former students and current students.
We can have a vaccination party, Remy.
Marcia, would you like to say anything at all?
Hi, good. Well, it's morning on my side of the world, okay? I am a judicial officer in Trinidad and Tobago, and my passion has always been for criminal law. So when I saw this program that was being offered at Queen Mary, I knew it was going to be out of my wheelhouse and out of my comfort zone. But I thoroughly enjoyed the program. At times it was a bit challenging, but sometimes it's good to challenge ourselves. One of the things that I noticed when I was doing this program is that there's not a lot of information about the Caribbean. And that is where my passion is. I see this as an opportunity, and I see the chapter as an opportunity for us to have many more persons from the Caribbean getting involved, getting to know what Queen Mary is offering, what this International Dispute Resolution course is all about, and of course, building the jurisprudence in this part of the world. So that is what I am really looking forward to. I think the networking is important, and that's where my passion is going to be. Thank you.
And you're right. We're not saying we're not covering much substantively about the Caribbean in the course in commercial arbitration, which is a pity. We need to make an effort to include more information. I know that the region is at the moment that there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm about the development of international arbitration in different parts of the Caribbean. So with new centers being created, new statutes, and etc. So I think it's a very interesting geographic area. I think it's well worth exploring, and we don't see a lot of events about arbitration in the Caribbean really. So yeah, there's definitely room for something there.
But there's another side to that too. The reputation that Queen Mary has in this field is really worldwide. It's not just domestic or European. And for that reason, you'll find that the offering here may well actually have a much greater degree of credibility within your Caribbean focus.
So do we have anybody else who wants to say a word about what their experience has been with the program and what they're doing right now? If not, it'd be great to have your preliminary views as to what could be done by the team, by Renata and Victor together with your help. What sort of events you would like to see organized, whether it's catch-ups on Zoom, maybe with a coffee or a drink, depending on where in the world you're located, but if you have any ideas, anything that you want to feed to our current leaders of the group, I think now would be a great time.
I have an idea. We could probably have a meeting among everybody in the chapter, okay? And we could have a sort of a presentation of a topic, or probably something that came up in an arbitration or something like that, so that we could sort of share excellence through that. And without, of course, mentioning any names or anything, but probably some, sort of problems either in the procedure or any, sort of things that probably came up, and we could have two people sort of arguing or sort of contesting a subject, so that everybody else could come in as a conversation, so that we could discuss ideas about sort of some arbitral matters or anything like that.
It's interesting, Anna, that kind of practical approach works quite well at the LCIA, when it used to be the YAG, but now the main LCIA. They have, issues that have arisen. And in fact, for them, they're quite formulaic. They make you send them in beforehand, and then they pick and choose whichever ones. But it's quite a very practically focused suggestion, and I think it can work quite well.
Yeah, probably, probably once every 2 months, if you like, or anything like that. I mean, it's a way of actually sort of sharing, what really came up to you, so that, the other arbitrator will know about it, and, sort of share this knowledge among us. I think it's very important. An idea. We used to have these kind of arbitration clubs, before, a lot of times, and it is really nice with, with people that are really interested in that, if you like.
Yeah, I think it is very practice-oriented approach is very, very interesting. The only thing is, and I've organized a lot when I was the co-chair of IAG for the LCIA. It really works well. People are very enthusiastic about things that are really practice-oriented. That starts from problems that people have, and they share it, and we discuss it, and so that really works well as a format. The only thing is you really need to chase people to send their questions, to get people involved. But then when people attend, it's incredible the discussions you have. You see that people are able to share their views, whether or not they've had an experience of the problem in question. And it's a great way, sort of bottom up, instead of top down. It's the opposite of the LLM, if you want. You start from like problems, in real life, and you deal with them and you share knowledge. That's great. Yeah.
I just suppose we might organize it by gathering feedback from the members of the group on the problematic questions they encounter, and then if we see repetitions, so like we focus on those, the most, how to say, popular issues, and then we bring about something, either debate or discussion format, appoint like several speakers, and anyone who else wants to join discussion after that. So I think we might work out this format maybe in the several weeks from now, I suppose.
And the way it works, just to spell it out, for those of you who are not familiar with the format, it's called the Tilney Hall format. So TYLNEY. It's the place where the annual meetings of the LCIA, the annual conference of the LCIA, takes place in May and September each year. And the Tilney format is people send their questions in advance, then they come and attend the event, and they're called upon by the panelists are not speakers, they're really moderators, and they call upon people who have submitted their questions to read the question and maybe explain a little bit about the background of the question, why they're asking the question, and what they think the answer might be, and what they're struggling with. And people just go on, take the microphone in Tilney Hall, and they raise their question, and people start responding and sharing their own experience of either struggling with the same issues or having found a solution, and then it gives rise very often to really good debates about the substantive questions. It's a really exciting way of doing conferences, and instead of being lectured and being talked to by panelists on a conference, we're just going through their papers or their slides. It's the attendees who come in and do the talking, and for that to work, you need moderators who are perhaps a little bit who have just a bit more experience of arbitration, so they can, when the discussions are a bit flat, you're able to get them going and or provide the beginning of an answer if people are a bit shy to answer questions at first. But it is an incredible format that's very successful. It does require a bit of work, but it works so well.
It's actually presented by two people. Okay, one suggests one thing and the other another thing. So there is a debate between them. Okay, so people come and join in, and it would be great actually, because if we manage to have that, then somebody could actually write down the sort of discussions, and this could be later on in a newsletter for the club that we have, and these kind of things later on. It works quite well, something like that.
And a twist, a different way of doing it is there's the International Arbitration Club of New York. It's an organization that's been around for some time. And what they do is, it's a bit like the club in London, but a bit more substantive, I guess, and formal. And the way it works is once a month, they invite two speakers, typically. It's a long lunch. And the speaker is really an expert in one narrow issue. They've written maybe a paper or something like that, and they come in and they explain that issue, typically very complicated, really complex. And then people ask questions and debate and often disagree on a lot of things. Yeah. So that's very interesting. But here the model is reliant on a very formal presentation by a true expert in the field on a particularly complicated issue, and then the people can ask the question. So that works well as well, but you have to find speakers every time who and interesting issues that are going to generate a debate.
Perhaps, Remy, we could invite you to talk about delocalization theory.
Maybe one of you should have mastered it now.
And I'm actually quite interested now in the, this mandatory law perspective from the perspective of conflict between sanction law and anti-sanction law, and how arbitrators should approach it as they apply it. Because from here from Russia, I see many anti-sanctions laws, and there was recent changes in local legislation. But it should be fun if, for example, arbitrators sitting in Paris should resolve the conflict US law sanctions and Russian anti-sanction law and apply it in the way parties intended it. Like that, I think could be separate topic of discussion. I'm actually just raising that to like realize, does anyone here familiar with the issue and how to say, how big it is at the moment in arbitration, because I see that the interest to sanctions law grows around, like at least in my information cubicle.
Thanks, Remy. Yeah, I have had to look at sanctions, but actually, while I'm now sitting as arbitrator for the last, I don't know, 5-10 years, it's interesting that I haven't had a case, and I know a lot of my cases are energy related, so you would expect to see some reference there because, you know, sanctions have been imposed, including unilaterally by, as an example, the US against the proposed Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. Of course, they're protecting their interests in their exporting of the LNG market. But I haven't yet seen a case where you have to decide on how those sanctions would be interpreted or applied in relation to a particular energy project. But for sure, I know that it's not an easy answer, because I do remember, again, back in my Herbert Smith Freehills days, when we were looking at when there was actually a lot more sanctions imposed in resource-rich countries, including Angola, that the advice that lawyers give in relation to companies doing business, you know, we had to look at Angola, we looked at Iran, is very specific, and they do have to look very carefully at what, first of all, obviously the UN Security Council resolution actually says, and how that should be implemented, and whether or not it's just limited to identifiable persons or bank accounts, or whether it's a more broad sanction. So I'm presuming that the same process would have to be gone through by the tribunal, obviously depending on what arguments the parties put before them. So I'm not aware, I haven't worked on a case, I don't know if Remy has on any of the sanction cases, but I haven't seen them yet. So I can imagine, I'm just thinking myself, if I was sitting as arbitrator, that would be definitely something that you'd probably spend a lot of time looking at, if obviously it was argued in front of you. So Remy, have you had to come across it?
Thank you, Nora.
All right. Is that taking us to the end of our session, or is there anything else we'd like to discuss? Please feel free to intervene. Otherwise, I think it's going to be time to conclude.
Yeah, I just want to say I agree with Remy, what he said at the beginning. I mean, there's so many events that obviously will come back once we're all vaccinated, and you know, big ones like the School of International Arbitration annual Freshfields lecture that a lot of people come to and travel to, and you could tack an informal, you know, alumni event in and around those type of annual events. So that would work quite well as well.
Well, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Victor and Renata for being chapter leads. It's really lovely. And if anybody else is interested in supporting them and helping being on the committee, then please make yourself known. And do also spread the word about the new chapter, because you know, we're promoting activities mainly through the chapter LinkedIn page at the moment, but there might be other ways that we go about promoting different events as well. And also thank you, Remy, Nora and Jane, for coming today, and also the rest of you. It was lovely that you could attend, and we hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.